Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. In this video, I'll be telling you everything you need to know about growing nepenthes. If you don't already know, nepenthes are specialized species of carnivorous plant. They use bright colors, sweet smelling nectar, and even UV patterns to lure small animals into their traps. These traps are specially modified leaves known as pitchers, and they come in a variety of shape and size depending on the species. For beginners, I would recommend getting an easy grow hybrid of these plants, like the Nepenthes ventrata, the Nepenthes Bloody Mary, or the Nepenthes Gaia. But without further ado, let's get into the general care for all species of these plants. One of the first, most important things to do with these plants is light. All carnivorous plants need a lot of light, but compared to other carnivorous plants, nepenthes don't need as much light. They want about 3 to 6 hours of bright, indirect light a day. Never put them in direct sunlight. Unlike most carnivorous plants, direct sunlight can burn them. If you don't have enough light for these plants, or you have too much light, I would recommend using a grow light. Give them about 5 to 8 hours of the grow light, and keep the grow light about 20 centimeters away from the plant. That's slightly under 8 inches for people who are measuring inches. Now that lighting's out of the way, we can move on to the next important thing in growing these plants: water. Like all carnivorous plants, nepenthes hate tap water because it contains nasty minerals like chlorine. To water these plants, only use rainwater, distilled water, or reverse osmosis water. This is where most people kill their plants. The water quality for these plants also must be under 100 parts per million. I use a TDS meter to measure the water quality before watering my plants. To water your plants, use the tray method. Put a tray below the pot and fill it up with your clean water. The water will slowly seep into the pot and make the soil perfectly wet for the plants. After watering, let the plant's tray dry out for about 1 to 3 days before watering again. Also make sure that the pot or tray you're using with your plant is not made of exposed ceramic, terracotta, or clay. This is because minerals could seep into the soil or water and kill the plant. Speaking of the minerals, never fertilize the plant from the soil. Instead, put insects or plant food directly into the pitchers to sustain them. You could also leave them outside for a bit and let them catch food on their own. These plants don't require a dormancy period and like tropical temperatures all year round. Keep them in between 15 to 35 degrees Celsius. That's 59 to 95 degrees Fahrenheit. Keep humidity levels at 20% to 80%. Too little and it will dry out, and too much, mold will grow. Eventually, smaller plants will get pretty big and you have to repot them. Use either German coarse peat moss, sphagnum moss and perlite, or peat moss and perlite to pot these plants. As a substitute to perlite, you could also use sand. Nepenthes also have some pretty strange growth habits. On younger plants, the intervals between petioles, which are the long, thin green pods, they're not actually leaves, are smaller. You can see in these plants how the intervals between the leaves are very, very short. These plants will also turn more red depending on the species. You can also see on this larger plant that the intervals between petioles are still short. Eventually, when these plants are ready to flower, they'll start a process called vining. The intervals between the leaves start to get larger, from 2 to 3 centimeters, which is about an inch. The petioles begin to get thinner and the pitchers that they produce start getting paler and longer. These are called upper pitchers. If you look at the bottom of this plant, you can see that the intervals were smaller. But, as it went up, the intervals started to get larger and larger. Don't worry if your plant is about this size and the stem on the bottom starts to go brown. It's just kind of like the wood on a tree. Anyways, the plant climbs higher and higher and higher until it is ready to flower. I already have 2 videos on flowers, so check those out if you want to know more. I'd recommend cutting the flowers off if your plant grows any because they waste a lot of energy and they're hard to make seeds out of. The flowers have 2 genders, male and female, so you have to search for male pollen that's selling at the time if you have a female, and if you have a male, you have to find a female flower to get seeds. You might also notice that your nepenthes leaves are turning red or a shade of yellow. This just means that your plant is getting a lot of sunlight. This is a good thing in most cases because it makes the pitchers much more colorful. But if you don't like the look of it, you can just cut the leaves off and move it to a shadier place. Nepenthes have 3 types of pitchers: lower pitchers, intermediate pitchers, and upper pitchers. I already showed you upper pitchers. They're longer, thinner, paler versions of lower pitchers. The pitchers I'm showing you right now are lower pitchers, which are designed to attract and trap small crawling insects. On most species of nepenthes, lower pitchers have these distinctive, frilly wings, which help insects climb up into the pitcher, where they get eaten. Some species have less prominent wings, but most have similar wings. Some species, however, like the Nepenthes ventricosa, don't have wings at all on lower, intermediate, or upper pitchers. But even on these species, smaller, younger versions of them will always have wings. This is another weird growth habit nepenthes have: basal shoots. When the main plant has grown tall enough, it will start shooting out other plants from its base. You can see this Nepenthes ventrata basal shoot is doing well, shooting out many pitchers. If you have basal shoots, you could cut them out of the ground and put them in new soil to produce new plants, or you could just let them grow in the original pot. Now let's move to another problem that people have with these plants: pests. Fruit flies or fungus gnats aren't really a problem because they just get eaten. But aphids, thrips, and spider mites are a big problem for these plants. If they're on your plants, treat them normally like any other plant. Use pesticides or soapy water to remove them. If you're growing young plants and they're not doing so well, keep them in a humidity dome to increase moisture and heat. Also, when the top half of your pitchers dry up and turn brown, don't cut them off, because they're probably still digesting some food. Only cut them off if they're not digesting any food, or you just really don't like the look of them. Different species of these plants vary in size, shape, color, and difficulty to grow. For beginners, I would recommend getting easy-grow hybrids of these plants, crosses between lowland and highland species of these plants. Highland species of these plants are easier to grow in a house because they can tolerate colder temperatures. Lowland species are considered the hardest to grow varieties. They demand more warmth and humidity. If you get a mix of both these properties, your plant will be able to tolerate a wider range of conditions. Also, if you're watering these plants with water that's over 75 parts per million, you'll have to repot it every year or so to refresh the soil. Nepenthes don't really need feeding, but if you want to feed them to give them a boost, you can use live insects, dead insects, fish food, liquid fertilizer, or put them inside to catch prey on their own. If your plant isn't producing pitchers, or is only producing malformed, small pitchers, smaller than usual of course, it means it's under stress. Try find the problem and fix it immediately. Also, if pitchers on your Nepenthes have turned entirely brown, you can cut them off, because that means they're not digesting anything anymore and are completely dead. So yeah, that's pretty much all you need to know about growing Nepenthes for beginners. Let's go through it all one more time. Give them 3 to 6 hours of bright, indirect sunlight, or keep them under a grow light for 5 to 8 hours. Also keep grow lights about 20 centimeters away from the plants, which is about 8 inches. Only use water below 100 ppm, which is parts per million, so use rainwater distilled water or reverse osmosis water. Don't use any ceramic, clay, or terracotta pots for these plants because the minerals will seep into the soil and kill them. These plants don't need much feeding, but you can feed them anyways, or you could put them outside to catch food on their own. Giving these plants direct sunlight will cause them to burn. These plants will produce flowers which are male and female once they start to vine, which means the intervals between the leaf get larger and larger. They will also produce basal shoots, which are tiny plants at the base. Keep them in a range of 15 to 35 degrees Celsius, and for humidity, at least 20%. For watering, use the tray method. Put your plant's pot under a tray and fill it up with your clean water. Let the tray dry out for 1 to 3 days before watering again, otherwise it will rot. And that is a recap of just about everything you need to know about growing these plants. If you watched this far, please subscribe to my channel because I spend a lot of time making these videos and growing these plants. I'm about to hit 50 subscribers, so it would really help if you subscribe to me. It doesn't sound like a lot, but it's a huge milestone for me. I hope you enjoyed this video or learned something new. So yeah, bye for now!